Everybody, welcome. Hey, everybody, joining on in. Fantastic. You all see that you're all on mute at the moment. It's just Jess and I that are not on mute. We'll get you to stay on mute. But if you can, please put where you are in the chat. Okay, so where you are is the first thing. And then the second thing is we would love to hear what you do, what sort of business you have, or what is your creativity that you do. All right, so maybe your early stage, and that's cool as well, but we'd love you to share in the chat where you are and what you do. Okay, so the where you are could be a city, a country, a state, depending on where you are. I'm myself, I'm actually in Chicago at the moment, which is good. I have just spent a couple of months in Europe, and many of you may be noticing right now, oh, he's got a funny accent though. That's because I'm a New Zealander. We'll be hearing a bit more about that in a moment. We've just got a few more people joining in, and then we're going to get underway. Cool, so everyone's popping in. There we go. Oh, Scotland, Phil, I love it. Portugal, there we go. Portugal, fantastic. New Mexico, Arizona, Janelle, Oregon. Hello from Rhode Island, Paula. Fantastic. Fantastic. If you're just joining us, just popping into the chat where you are and also what you do. I love it. And lots of interesting things that people do as well. Thank you so much. All right, I think we might get underway. What do you think, Jess? Should we get into it?
Sounds good.
Over to you.
Hi guys, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jess Miller of Jess Miller Draws. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator, and I've been a graphic designer for the past 14 years, mostly as a toy package designer. But it wasn't really until the pandemic hit and I lost my job that I started digital drawing, and I realized that illustration is my true passion. So I'm relatively new to the freelance illustration scene, and I started working with a creative business coach, Logan Elliott. So through his 12-week program, we set up a roadmap with weekly and monthly goals. We covered how to price projects, outreach to clients, network, partnerships, marketing, and so much more. So he's really helped me grow my freelance illustration career. And now I earn over 10K a month from all my freelance work. So Logan is going to go more in depth about his program and give you some really valuable creative business tips. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the mic back over to Logan.
Hey everyone, so great to connect with you all. And I will say, if you want to turn your video on, you totally can. If you want to leave it off, that's fine as well. We can both see you, so we love being able to connect with people as well. So look, I will really briefly do an intro, and then we're going to be jumping into some really awesome business tips, some creative business tips that can really help you go forward wherever you are at the moment. So look, as Jess said, we actually connected earlier this year, and started really talking about how I could actually help her with her business. And this is what I do. So I'm a creative business coach, and I work with visual creatives. So that is really my space. Now, my background is kind of interesting. So as I said, I'm a New Zealander, so it's a funny accent, but I do travel and run my business full-time, fully remotely. I had my own creative business for 11 years. It's actually a company that I started in New Zealand in the live event space. So this is a company that had characters and performers and costumes and pyrotechnics, pretty wild and wacky company that I built up, took it New Zealand wide, and then eventually sold that company. And then during those years of running that company, I got really interested in education. So I started getting people who are asking me to help them with their business. I started getting universities asking if I could come and teach in their creative programs as well. So I ended up sort of getting more and more involved in that space. I did have a business master's myself. That was something I originally did. And I've always been really passionate about the intersection of art and creativity and business. Right, so how can we have these amazing creative people, but they're not being able to get themselves out there? Well, often the challenge is the business side. So the marketing, the sales, those things there. So I really help awesome creative people with the business stuff. That's really what I do. And obviously that's been a big focus of the work that I've done with Jess as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking you through some awesome creative business tips, and then we're going to have time for questions at the end. Now, I will say we've already had a few questions submitted, which is really good. But if you have questions throughout, feel free to add them in the chat. Also, if you're resonating with what I'm sharing, or you've got any other thoughts, ideas, questions, add things in the chat as we go as well. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing all sorts of tips and ideas as we go. Now, obviously during my own creative career, I learned a ton of stuff from being in the fire, really, right? Being in the furnace. And, that's part of what has really driven me to help other people. So these days, 100% of my time is with creative coaching area. I also run retreats in Europe. So hence, I've just got back from Europe to the States, spent 2 months there. And one of the things we did was I ran an entrepreneur retreat, which is kind of a fun word, which was really cool, an entrepreneur retreat in Spain for a week, which was awesome. And currently planning our next retreat for next year. It's a bit of a secret at the moment, but it's going to be somewhere on that side of the world, which is good. All right, I'm going to really jump into things from here. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is really what to focus on. All right. So in your creative business, whether you're early stage or further along, it can be really challenging because one of the big problems is time. Right? Like time is challenging. Right. And I'm sure there's people here who are like, yep, I get it. Maybe you have full-time job and you're trying to create something on the side. Maybe you're already full-time on your creative business and you're just always overworked. Right? Time is something that is really challenging. So therefore, one of the biggest things is going, hey, what should we focus on? Okay, what are the key things that we can focus on? So I want to share some key thoughts around this to really help you figure out what to focus on in your creative business. And some of these things are kind of obvious. Some things are obvious, but we don't do them, right? We kind of forget. We get distracted. We get distracted with all sorts of things in our business and not realize that actually the first thing is that we need to do the things that have worked well in the past, right? Kind of almost sounds a bit silly, but say when it comes to marketing, how should you market your business? Well, if you've already been in business for a while, you should market it based on the things that have been working, right? So again and again, what I see is that people get distracted, right? So if something's working in their business, maybe it's a type of marketing, maybe it's a type of offering that they do, and it's going really well, but because they're highly interesting, creative people, they kind of get bored, right? We'll get bored of the things that we've done before and that are mundane and doing them again. So we go, okay, well, I'm going to try do this over here instead, right? And we've stopped doing the thing that was actually working for us, right? So it's really, really important that you actually focus on doing the things that are already working, right? And I'm talking very generally here, but if we think about marketing, okay, what is the marketing that has worked for you in the past, right? Do more of it. Okay, yes, there might be a new social media platform. Yes, maybe there is a new thing that you could be doing. And you hear from people all the time, oh, you have to be on here. You have to be there. You have to be marketing this way. Well, yes, but are you doing the things that you already know work? Right? So if you're finding that you build great connections and relationships by having referrals in your business, right? So people that you've already worked with refer you new people, right? Whether that's to buy your products, your services, whatever it is. If that's already something that works, make sure you're doing everything possible around referrals before you go and get distracted by some other thing. Okay, so it's really, really important. Get focused on what is already working in your business. And sometimes it's just doing more of that, right? So referrals, right? It's working. What else can I do? Or maybe it is social media. Maybe you're finding, oh, Instagram's working. That's really good. But then you hear about, oh, no, but you have to be on TikTok. So what happens is people lose their focus and they get over here and they start doing some things on TikTok because they're annoyed with Instagram, right? And they stop doing the thing, Instagram, they stop doing the thing that has been working in the past. They get focused over here. Okay, so really, really important when it comes to focus, do the things that have worked in the past. I'm going to talk about experimentation next when it comes to focus, because this is kind of interesting in that we are creative people. We want to try new things, right? We want to create. We want to try new ways to market. We want to try new offerings or new products, or we want to try new art forms, right? Yes, absolutely. It's good to try new things. At the same time, we need to get the balance. So once again, when it comes to focus, you could almost think about this as a percentage, right? So you could spend 80% of your time on your core things, on the things that you know work. And then if you want to experiment and try some new things, you could use 20% of your time to do that. So you can really box it in if that's a new offering, for example. Because what happens is people get excited about, oh, cool, I could offer this new thing, this new product, this new service. They get really excited because we're creatives. Right? We want to create new things. And then our energy, we put 80% of our energy into this thing that we don't even know if it's going to work. And meanwhile, the thing that was working the 20 that we were spending all of our time on is now only getting 20% of our energy. And therefore what happens is that slows down, and then our business maybe slows down, and then it stresses us out, right? Makes us really anxious, makes us worried about our business. So just remember, when it comes to experiments and trying new things, absolutely, we love it. We want to be creative. Just make sure you really time box it, right? So once again, maybe you're going, okay, well, I'm just going to spend 1 day per week or 1 hour per day or 10% of my time, 20% of my time, however you want to box it off. Just be aware that it, yes, could be a big opportunity, right? So definitely do it. Definitely explore, try new things, experiment. But just remember, it could also be a distraction from your core thing. And this is really going to bring me into the final piece of the focus thing, which is about what I call the bread and butter, right? So we hear this word, this concept of what is your bread and butter. And it's such an important thing that we've got to figure out in our creative businesses, right? So whether, once again, you're early stage or you're further along, usually there's 1 or 2 things that are your bread and butter. These are the things that really are already working. Maybe they are the things that bring in reliable recurring income, right? We need to make sure we're doing them right before we get distracted with all the other things. So once again, maybe you're spending 80% of your time and energy on the bread and butter offerings, and then maybe 20% of your time on the ideas and the experiments and the other things, okay? Because you've got to get that bread and butter right. Now, the thing I'll share about bread and butter is kind of interesting, that bread and butter is a bit boring, right? Like we don't want to live off bread and butter. Like, oh, come on, there must be something. We've got some jam, some peanut butter. What can we do to make this a bit more interesting? And the first thing is just acknowledge, yeah, bread and butter is a bit boring. Okay, the thing that you do is maybe bringing in the core of your revenue might be a bit boring. Okay, and that's okay. Yes, longer term, you might plan to do some more creative things, more interesting things. And that's why you're experimenting and trying some things over here. But it's really important that you get the stability first, okay? Because when we have that stability, whether that's our revenue, right? So having our stability in revenue and maybe going, hey, we don't need to rely on a day job or a part-time job, but we can now focus our time and energy on our brand, on our creative business. That's actually something that's going to take time and energy to do that, to build that up. That's going to allow us eventually to do the other things, the more creative things. And working with a lot of different clients, this is actually often what I see is a lot of people come to me and they say, hey, this is my bread and butter here, but I've got these other things over here that I want to pursue. The first thing we need to be really careful about is that we make sure we still keep our eye on the bread and butter. What else could we be doing here to just bring that up a notch? That's going to then allow us to do these other things over here. Once again, sometimes it's really analyzing what that could be. Everyone's different. Might be pricing, right? So maybe we review their pricing is a big area we focus on in one of the programs I run, because your bread and butter pricing maybe just be too low. So how do we increase that pricing to increase the revenue without it being a ton more time, so that we can then move things across and transition to these other more creative areas? Right, so there's lots obviously on this subject, but I'm going to keep moving along because I really want to focus on the next concept I'm going to take you through. So that first one there, the first of 3 concepts I'm going to cover was really around focus. Okay, so focus is really important and you need to get that right. And you need to realize bread and butter is so important. We're going to get distracted. We're going to get the shiny object syndrome, but we've got to get these things right because the bigger picture is the long-term game of what we're creating here and building our own business. Cool. Next thing we're going to focus on is around confidence and mindset. And first thing I'll say around confidence and mindset is that this is a skill, right? We all kind of imagine, oh, well, you're either a confident person or you're not, or you have a positive mindset or you don't. No, these are skills, just like learning about social media in your business, or learning about how to market, or learning how to do the scary sales stuff, right? Or learning a new art form, right? Learning is something that you can do when it comes to confidence and mindset as well. So these areas are really important to work on and build. Most people are not naturally just confident. Some people are, right? Lucky for them. Most people actually have to work on these things, right? And wherever you are on the confidence scale or the positivity mindset scale, there's always room to improve. Right? So even if you feel like you're I'm just not a confident person, I'm a 2 out of 10 if you were to rank it. That's cool. Let's get you to a 3. right? Because you getting your confidence up just a notch is going to help you take action and move forward with your creative business. Yes, maybe it would be ideal to be an 8 out of 10, but actually just moving that one notch is going to help you move forward. Okay, so I'm going to share a few thoughts around this. I kind of love this one in that the biggest impact that you can have, the biggest thing that's going to impact your business, it's not going to be the economy, right? So some people go, oh, well, it's just, the economy is tough right now, right? That's why my business is struggling. Or, oh, it's because of what's happening in my industry. No, the biggest thing that is going to impact your business right now is your level of confidence and mindset. Okay, so what's something you can do? You can work on these things. Okay, so confidence mindset really important. And I'm going to dive into one area, which is around abundance mindset. Okay, and I'm sure some of you have heard of abundance mindset before. If you have not, please Google it after this, because there's a ton of great information out there. Now, the opposite of abundance mindset is scarcity mindset. Most of the world lives by scarcity mindset. Okay, about 95% of people, that's kind of how they operate, which is really hard. Scarcity mindset says that there is not enough. Okay, there's not enough for any of us. Those of you in your business, there's not enough clients. That's what it's saying. There's not enough opportunities. There's not enough customers. We're all fighting over things, right? We're all in a lake. There's people trying to fight over a small amount of fish in a lake. That is what scarcity mindset says. There's not enough opportunity for us all. Now, the opposite of that is abundance mindset. And this is a mindset that says there's plenty for everyone. Plenty of opportunities. We don't need to compete. We can collaborate. Right? There's plenty of opportunities for you and your business, right? There's plenty of opportunities moving forward. Okay, so the key word here though is mindset. You get to choose which one you are and you get to work on it, right? So you might say, oh yeah, okay, Logan, I'm definitely in the scarcity mindset. That's me. That's okay. Recognizing that's cool. We can then go, what can you do to build up your mindset and focus on abundance mindset? It's very much linked with positive mindset as well. Right, so abundance mindset saying, hey, there is opportunities. And when you focus on that, reality, you will notice that opportunities will be there. Right, so if you say there's no opportunities right now, right, the economy's falling apart, everything you will see will prove that point, because our brains, they want to confirm our beliefs. Right, so if we say, hey, everyone's losing their jobs and no one's purchasing, you will notice all sorts of examples everywhere you go of that happening. Right, you'll overhear conversations, you'll read some stuff online, you'll notice, yeah, bad things are happening. See, this explains, I knew I was right. What was Logan talking about abundance mindset? No, the word's scarce right now. Come on, Logan. Actually, if you really flip that mindset and even just kind of pretend to have an abundance mindset, you will start to notice things that prove that to be true. Okay, so you'll start to notice, hey, well, yeah, some areas of the economy might be slowing down, but there's other areas that are speeding up. Right? Yes, things might be slowed down. There's still plenty of spending that's happening. Right? There's still plenty of things that are happening in the world. There's still plenty of opportunities. There's still plenty of good positive things happening. And we'll start to notice them. Okay, so it's really important that we just think about these two areas, scarcity mindset and abundance mindset, and how do we lean into the abundance side. Now, no one's perfect. We all have those days we wake up and we're in a scarce mindset, but at least recognizing it and going, okay, well, maybe I'm just going to pretend today. At least that'll block out those negative thoughts, even if I'm pretending the positive stuff. All right, so really, really powerful. Cool. Now I'm going to share a couple more thoughts around confidence and mindset. And some more things that we can do, which can really help you boost your confidence. Number one is that we can celebrate. Nobody celebrates enough, right? Small wins, big wins, anything. I'm sure everyone here has one thing to celebrate from today alone. Okay, and it could just be, hey, I got up this morning. And my alarm clock went off. Maybe I snoozed it a few times, but I got up and I got to work. Or maybe I was just, I tried, right? Maybe I had breakfast. Maybe I actually took some time to do some yoga or some meditation or whatever it was, right? There's always something that we can celebrate. Celebrating big wins or small wins just boosts our confidence. Okay, I did some yoga this morning and it was great. Right, I'm slightly jet lagged because I came from Europe, but luckily in the correct direction. So later this evening I'll be exhausted. But I was awake at 5 a.m. this morning doing yoga. It was great. Right, so I'm celebrating that. Awesome. That boosts my confidence. makes me feel more confident about my day ahead as well. Okay, so really, really important. The other part of boosting your confidence is to do the things that you say you're going to do. Okay, and I could see there's a few of my other clients here as well, which is really, really cool. And I'm sure they're all going, yep, we've heard this one before, Logan. I set actions for my clients every single session. And one of the really key things that we do is tick off those actions between sessions. Okay, so it's making sure that, yes, you're doing the things that you say you do to others, right? So you tell a client, you tell someone, a friend, I'm going to do this thing, do it. Because when you do it, it's going to boost your confidence. Now, unfortunately, the opposite is also true. If you don't do it, it's going to lower your confidence. Okay, which is really interesting. Now, the bigger piece is, yes, what we say to others, say to your coach for those clients in here, or if it's a friend that you say you're going to do this thing, yep, that's important. Even more important is what you say to yourself that you're going to do. Right, so we're like, oh, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to do yoga. Right, now, if you don't do that, keep in mind that will lower your confidence a little bit, because your subconscious mind is like, oh, you never do stuff you say you will, Logan. But if you do it, your subconscious mind is going to be like, yeah, you've got this. And when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I feel like doing some yoga. Okay, so this is really talking about taking action, right? Maybe it's not about yoga. Maybe it's about taking action with a client. Maybe it's about, you said, hey, you'll send a client a proposal, right? So you said you do it within 24 hours, do it within 24 hours. It's going to build their confidence in you, but it's going to build your confidence in yourself as well. Part of this is we've got to get good at knowing what we can achieve and what we can't achieve. So as I say to my clients, look, if you say you're going to do this, you've got to do it. If you feel like it's too much, that's totally fine. We can lower those expectations on ourselves. All right, totally fine as well. So part of what we need to do as creative business owners is get an understanding of what we can achieve and tick things off. Really, really important. Awesome. Welcome to those of you that have just joined us as well. I know we've got a few people have been joining in, so really great to be working through things here. I'm just sharing some creative business tips, and then we're going to jump into the Q&A. So I have got another area that I'm going to be talking about next, but just in the meantime, you'll see there that Nadine, who works with me at Flammable Entrepreneur, has actually shared into the chat there where you can submit questions. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can actually submit them there, or you can just pop them straight into the chat. All right, so pop any questions straight into the chat that you have, and we're going to be, I'm going to be jumping into them at the end as well. So I'm going to jump into the next thing though, and the next thing is basically, how do we market ourselves authentically? Okay, so it's all about marketing. And first thing is that marketing is probably the thing that most people here struggle with the most. I get a lot of calls with different people and I say, hey, what's the biggest challenge right now? Maybe they're just starting their business, maybe they're further along. Maybe they've had a business for a number of years. And I say, hey, what's the biggest challenge? And they just say, oh, I just love to have more clients. Love to have more sales. Right? That's kind of it, right? Yes, maybe more time would help too, right? But I'd love to have more clients. Now, the thing I see again and again is that it comes down to marketing. Right? So you want more clients. Okay, well, and I say to people, I say, cool, that's awesome. Like, what are you doing around marketing? And they kind of go, oh, well, I kind of do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Most people don't really have a marketing strategy. They haven't really thought about this stuff. And they're wondering why their business is maybe not growing as much as they'd like it to, or maybe why clients aren't coming to them. Why are people not banging on their door saying, I'd love to work with you, right? It's because they don't market. What I see again and again is that there's so many people with amazing creative skills out there, right? Highly creative. Like one of the things I see again and again is just the talent, the level of talent is incredible. And people say to me, they say, oh, well, I don't know if I'm actually that good. I'll say to people on a call, I'll say, like when we connect, I'll say, hey, look, by the way, your art, your creativity, it's really good. It's really high quality. And they're like, is it really? Why don't I have lots of clients coming to me, Logan? And I go, well, what are you doing to market yourself? And they go, well, right, that's what it is there's very talented people out there who are not marketing themselves. People don't know that they exist. And this is one of the biggest challenges. So therefore, what we need to do is figure out how to market. Okay, and already some of you here might be going, oh, right, yeah, marketing, sales, oh man, right? Because you're a creative person, right? So part of what we need to do is figure out, okay, what are the ways that you can market authentically without feeling like you're maybe a used car salesperson on the corner, right? Selling your wares, yelling at people. I think that's what we all imagine when we hear the word selling in marketing, right? And we'll change the words, sharing. That's what we're really doing. We're sharing what we're up to. We're sharing how we can help other people. That's all marketing really is. It's all selling really is as well, is sharing. Because if we don't share, people are not going to know we exist, even if you're highly talented. Okay, so marketing is really important. So I'm going to share a few thoughts around this, just to dig a little bit deeper. I kind of mentioned it at the start, but when it comes to marketing, you've got to do the thing that works. Okay, this kind of sounds, once again, kind of silly, kind of obvious, right? But like, do the thing that works. Now, if you've been in business for a while, even just for a few months or a year, you probably have some clues as to the sort of marketing that has worked so far. Right? So maybe you've found, oh, I've had some clients, opportunities, sales coming through social media or through partnerships, or I've done some cold email outreach and that worked. Right? Maybe it's through referrals. Maybe it's through friends and family. Maybe it's through a network you're a part of. Okay, well, that's great. That is a clue that says you should lean more into that area. And what I see again and again is that people don't focus their marketing. They use a scattergun approach. Right? They try doing all sorts of different things, right? Try a bit of this, bit of that. Maybe I'll post on social media once occasionally. Maybe I'll send the odd email, maybe a real scattergun approach. So what ends up happening is they don't do any of these areas particularly well, right? They don't get better at them. They don't focus on them. They don't have a system around them. So the really, really important thing to do is to focus your marketing on the areas that work. Okay, and usually this looks like focusing on one or two areas. Right? And it's something that we go quite deep into in the coaching, is really figuring out what are those areas going to be for you. Once again, you've usually got some clues if you've been in business for a while, or even if you haven't been in business for a while, you could look at how you connect with people normally. Right? So even outside of business, sometimes I work with people who are right at the start of their business and they're like, Logan, I don't know, I've never really marketed myself. I haven't really had that many clients. I go, cool, well, let's look at the ones you have had. You have had at least one or two clients, see where they came from, but also how do you generally connect with people? Right? How did you get your job? Or how did you connect with people that you have? How did you connect with people for volunteer projects, whatever it is? Really thinking about it that way. Cool. Next thing I'll share around marketing is, once again, I use this word authenticity, right? So how can we market authentically? And I just want to say, like, pretty much most marketing, when you've never done it before, does not feel authentic. Right? So it doesn't feel authentic. Well, those of you that use social media, I bet when you first started using social media, you're like, oh, this is kind of fun, but I don't know how to use this. It doesn't feel very normal or natural. That's because you haven't done it before. Right? So I think that's a really important thing to recognize, is that sometimes you've got to try things out and learn some stuff to then figure out if it's going to feel authentic. Right? Because things that you haven't done before, that you haven't figured out, they're probably not going to feel authentic. And that's okay. But can you take some time to learn a bit more about that area, that subject? Maybe it is social media, maybe it is cold email outreach, maybe it is networking, maybe it is partnerships. Right? Take some time to learn a bit about it, try it, and see what happens. See if it starts to resonate. Yeah, look, after a while, you might be like, oh, look, I've tried this, and I've tried it for a few months, and it just feels horrible. I don't like doing this. This is your business. You get to decide how you market your business. And some people say to me, and they say, oh, look, I don't ever want to have to do this stuff. So sometimes I go, cool, maybe we could like try it, learn a bit about it. And then if after that, you don't think it's your thing, that's cool. And some people then go, they try it, they learn a bit, and they go, oh, definitely not my thing. I did say, Logan. And I'm like, cool, now we know. Right, now we know. But it means that you need to figure out what it is going to be. Right? So you might say, oh, social media, I just hate it. I just can't do it. That's cool. We need to then figure out what is the marketing that you can do. Okay, once again, this is a process that can take time, takes some learning, and it takes figuring it out as you go. The final thought I'm going to share around this is consistency. And this is something that I see again and again and again people struggle with, is having consistent marketing, because we're all distracted by other things to do in our creative businesses. But consistency is really important, especially if you're trying out a new marketing tactic or a new marketing approach. Is you've got to kind of take some time. You can't just do a few Instagram posts and see how it goes and go, well, that didn't really work. I'm not going to bother doing that. It takes time. It takes consistency. I came across a profile yesterday, actually. I was checking out some different profiles on Instagram. And I saw this profile and like she had a huge following, I think 150,000 followers. She was in the creative space. And I sort of went through her feed a little bit and I saw a post which was from 2017, right? And she said, and it was like, oh, so stoked to have my first 1,000 followers, right? Really, and she was like celebrating that. And that's awesome. She was really excited. And then she's consistently kept posting since then, and now she has 150,000 followers. Now, I'm not saying that you're always going to end up with 150,000 followers, and I'm not saying that Instagram is necessarily the right place for you. I mean, it could be, but the key there is consistency. Anyone that has built a big following, actually, they've just been at it for a long time. Right, we see the tip of the iceberg. We see, oh wow, yeah, you've got all these followers, right? That's awesome. You've done the overnight success, right? As we know, overnight successes, well, they take years, right? And I think about the work that I've done with Jess, right? Like it's taken her time. She's built up an amazing following, right? But it's taken her time. She's been working really hard to get to the point that she's at, and we're still growing her business. We're still working on those next steps as well. But consistency is what is going to work, right? It just can take time. And I actually just shared today on Instagram a really cool analogy around a bamboo tree, right? So bamboo trees, we know they grow fast, right? They're straight up. Now, what's interesting about bamboo trees is that they don't initially actually grow that fast. Okay, so actually what happens is they start growing really slowly and you're like, what is even going? What's this bamboo tree? It must be something wrong with it. What's actually happening is it's growing underneath, right? It's growing its platform, it's growing its base consistently, right? Every day it's growing a little bit more, but you can't see that. So that's an analogy for consistent action that you can do, right? Maybe it is taking action around your marketing. Maybe it is learning more about abundance mindset. Maybe it is taking small actions in your business every day. That's adding more and more of those roots, right? And then, as we know, bamboo, once it gets to a certain point, it's got that big stable base, it can then grow. It can grow quite fast. And we do see that a lot. I'll throw in the chat here. So if anyone does want to follow on Instagram, that's me there. And that's a really cool analogy that I just shared today as well. So look, authentic marketing, it's really, really important. Consistency, taking time to learn, know that it won't feel authentic at first, trying different things, but also doing the things that work. Okay, these are really, really important things when it comes to authentic marketing. So just wanted to take pause, and what we're going to do soon is we're going to be doing some questions. So if you have any questions, and this is really like an open ask, right? If you have any questions about anything that I've covered or anything around creative business that you want to ask, just pop it into the chat. All right, so pop them into the chat there, and then we'll dig into that as well. In the meantime, just while people are doing that, what I'm going to share is something that we are doing, which is we're doing a bit of a giveaway. I'm giving away 5 freebie coaching calls. All right, so it's something I'm doing for people that attend the webinar and for Jess's audience here. Jess is going to be sending an email out to everyone after this with the link, but I'm going to post it straight in here now. If you obviously resonated with me here and would love to jump on and one of those freebie coaching calls potentially, what I would ask you to do is just to fill in this here. It's a survey. Once again, 5 people will be picked from this survey, right? It's a 30-minute coaching call. I would love to connect with you. I would love to connect with more than 5 of you, but obviously time is limited at my end as well with the clients that I'm already working with. But open that, even if you just pop that link open now and then do it later, it takes 5 to 10 minutes to do. So we'll just mention that. Once again, you're going to get a follow-up email about this as well. And we're going to be jumping into questions next. So as I said, I have actually got some questions some people sent me already beforehand as well. But before, I'll probably do one, and then maybe Jess, if you want to jump into that one there, if you're up for it, you could do unmute after that. Okay, cool. So I'll do the first question that someone sent in before. It's kind of an interesting one, which is basically, Logan, what are your thoughts around print on demand and licensing? Okay, pretty wide, general, open question. And I know there'll be people here who are probably in print on demand and licensing. There'll be people here who are in the freelance space of various types. There'll be people here in different creative industries. So if you're not familiar with these things, so print on demand is effectively where you can upload your designs to an online site like Society6, and then those designs get put on products. So people can go online and buy all sorts of different products, and your designs will be on them, and you'll get paid a small commission from that sale because it's your artwork, right? So there is sites that have this. One's Redbubble, one's Society6. There's a lot of them actually, print on demand sites that you can do this. Now, typically it's all about volume, right? You need to sell a lot of units, and you get a very small amount. Like you might get $1 or $2, sometimes more, sometimes less per product that's sold. So it comes down to volume. Then licensing it's kind of in a way connected. It's more where you build a partnership with an organization that has an agreement with you to use your designs, right? And they could be using them exclusively on their products. It could be in store, it could be online, it could be a physical store. There's lots of different ways to do licensing. And once again, there's an agreement around what you get. Usually that's percentage based. So it might be royalties and you work through that. Now, the question, just going back to the question is, Logan, what are your thoughts on these two things, right? So once again, a very, very general question, but I will share a few brief thoughts around this. So one of them, what I've generally seen is that it can't be your bread and butter, at least initially. Okay, so what some people do is they go, oh, I really want to leave my day job and I'm doing print on demand and a bit of licensing. This is a really hard thing to do as a bread and butter, to leave your day job, especially if you're early on in business. Okay, usually you need something else there. You often, maybe it's some sort of freelance type work, right? If you're a designer, illustrator, maybe it's freelance graphic design, illustration type work that you can do and you can charge clients for. And maybe you then have a small amount of your time going towards the print on demand in the licensing area. And the reason for this is that for print on demand and licensing, it takes time. You need to build up your portfolio. You need to build up your brand. You need to build up your following. You need to build up your customer base, right? Even I've got clients who do have a lot of followers, right? Some people have lots of followers. Some people have a very small amount of followers. But from the clients that I work with that have those big follower bases, tens of thousands of followers, and they do print on demand and licensing, even then you would be surprised, right? Usually they still have a bread and butter as well. So something to keep in mind is that even people with big followings, it's usually just a small proportion of their revenue, right? 10, 20, 30% of their revenue. Right? And it's great because it's quite it's a bit of a passive income type source, which is fantastic. And we can build that up over time. We can do more, lots of good things there. But typically it's not an area that you can leave your day job with early on. It's an area that works and it takes time to get there. You need to build up that following. So this is where, if you're doing something a bit more freelance, you can actually, yes, build up your business, build up your brand, learn more about business, build your followings online, whilst you then build that extra thing on the side that may be your longer term plan as well. All right, so that was a few of my thoughts around that. We've got some other things that are popping into the questions as well. And Jess, I might get you to go for the next one just around VA. So if you want to come off mute and share a couple of thoughts around that.
Yeah, Meredith is asking me, do I have a virtual assistant or someone who helps me with marketing and other admin work? I actually do not. And I don't even use those scheduling platforms. I'm just more of like a type B personality, I think. I'm a little more spontaneous. So I'm like, maybe I'll post a pattern to my Instagram tomorrow. And then, in a few days, it'll be a character illustration. It's very like off the cuff and spontaneous, but that's just works for me. And as far as like, I know a lot of other people that need a help with like a virtual assistant or someone to do all their marketing, but all that stuff on Instagram I've done organically and I've done on my own. I'm just kind of like a one-woman show, I guess you could say. Hope that answers your question.
I love it. Such a good answer there. And I think things change in business as well. And sometimes it's really going, what do you need at any given point, right? So, and I've got clients that I work with who do have VAs at a much earlier stage than Jess, and I've got clients that don't have them way beyond where Jess is at as well. So it's really dependent on you and what you need in those different things as well. So I'll keep working through these things. Thanks for that, Jess. That's great. So we've got a really good question here from Phil, which is around the do's and don'ts. Okay, so the do's and don'ts of starting out. What should someone invest their time, work, energy into the very early stage for the best chances of growing a creative business? Oh, I'd probably talk for a whole hour on this, Phil. Lots of good stuff. So look, typically what I see people doing early on is working on their business by doing everything apart from getting clients, because they're not ready yet, right? So typically what happens is people work on their creative skills, because I'm not good enough yet, I need to get better at that. And look, sometimes you need to work on the creative skills. What I typically see is that most people already have a good enough baseline of creative skills that they can market, that they can do. Yes, it's a lifelong journey that we all need to keep getting better at our craft, and we're going to do that quite naturally, right? But typically what I see is people putting energy into that, people putting energy into their plans. They lock themselves in a cold, dark room for a year to do a plan, a strategy, all of those good things, right? That's what we tend to do left to our own devices, right? So, and by the way, everyone, I'm not saying do this, do not do any of this, right? But the key thing when you're starting out is how can you get some real paying, not freebie clients, real paying clients as soon as possible, utilizing your current skills and abilities, right? That's really what it is, because you're going to get more experience from working with them, right? You're going to get testimonials, right? You're going to learn a ton about business. Now, once again, people think, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing on the business front yet, so therefore I feel like I should just give away my work first. It's like, well, yeah, maybe you don't know what you're doing on the business front, but your creative work is still really good. It's still worth getting paid for. Okay, so I really encourage you, if you are at that early stage, is going, hey, what can I do to just start getting some clients, start working with some people and learning some stuff, make some mistakes, right? Something that I do occasionally with clients is I celebrate mistakes. What is a mistake you made? And I had a client just recently who made a bit of a stuff up that actually cost them a bunch of money. It was around some printing stuff for a client, a graphic designer, and they made a bit of a mistake. And they were like, oh, I feel really bad about this. And it was a bit of a stuff up. And I was like, round of applause, you made a mistake. This is probably going to save you thousands of dollars in the future. And the client didn't actually mind. They didn't even notice. So I was like, it's great. The client didn't even notice. Yes, you had to spend, I think, $400 out of your budget, which no one wants to spend that extra money, but they learned some stuff. Wow. Right. If they'd waited till they were ready and knew the perfect ins and outs of this thing, they would have never have learned that. Right? Locked in their room or not working with clients or perfecting their craft, they wouldn't have learned. Right? And the client's still getting a good quality delivery. It just ended up costing themselves a bit more at the start. Cool. So we're going to keep working through this. So questions. So in your opinion, what marketing strategies are working well for product-based businesses in 2022? So that one there is from Emily. Cool. So a few different answers. And the first one is probably not going to be what you want to hear, but it still comes back to what works for you as an individual, right? So I would usually flip that around and say, yep, cool. Like we can look at the strategies that are working for product businesses, but what is working for you so far, right? Because that's probably the area that you would need to focus on first, because everyone is different. I have some clients that for some reason, cold email marketing works really well for them. And I have others that it just does not work for. I have others that social media works really well. Okay, so what I'm going to share, Emily, is a few of the different ways that we are seeing is working for product-based businesses, but just keep in mind, these are almost like options for you to consider, and just think about the things that are resonating, are working for you so far, right? So social media, right? Social media is something that is free, pretty easy, pretty cheap. We just need to figure out how to best use it, and the algorithms keep changing, right? So Instagram, some people are leaning into things like Pinterest as well. Now, there's lots of other forms of social media. You could be looking at YouTube, you could be looking at TikTok. Don't get distracted by trying to be everywhere, right? Pick one or two platforms and get focused, go deep onto them, right? So Instagram changes its algorithm. Everyone's getting a bit annoyed at the moment. I feel like this has been an ongoing conversation for years. We need to spend time figuring out what are the changes? How can I benefit from this? Because they're just a business as well. As frustrated as we get, okay, what can we do to make this work for us? Right, so that's one area, big area there, social media. Another area is around partnerships. So this is something that actually both in the product space and the services space, how can you build partnerships with other people? Now that could be in the product space, it could be partnerships with wholesalers, right? It could be partnerships with stores that are gonna, like physical stores that are gonna have your product, right? Is it online stores that can promote your product, right? Are there other ways we can form partnerships? Okay, and partnerships is a big part of my business as well. I connect with awesome creative people and form partnerships with them. Right, there's a lot you can do around partnerships. Okay, and that could just be collaborating with another product owner, right? So maybe they have a complementary product. Maybe you can actually co-sell your products together or co-sell to each other's audiences, right? That's a partnership, right? So that can work very well in the product space as well. Networking, right? I think there's another question I think coming up around networking, and one of the struggles we've all had over the last few years is how do we network during these uncertain times with COVID over the last few years? It's been pretty challenging as well. Networking is still a great way to build your business because it's about connecting with people, and business is about people, right? We think about numbers and we think about customers and clients, but it's just people, right? So actually networking can be a really great tool. There's a lot of networking opportunities online as well as offline, right? We are seeing some of the offline opportunities are starting to pop back up again, which is really cool. Some people are still not comfortable with that, and that's cool as well. Either way, we're still seeing more and more of these online opportunities. Even you're here connecting, coming onto a Zoom group, connecting online is a good way to connect with other people, right? So there is ways to network and connect with others. So that is marketing, right? Some people don't think about networking as marketing. It's just a type of marketing. You don't need to be out there waving your banner, right? And on the corner networking, it can be pretty informal, right? Connecting with people, that can help your business as well. So these are some of the key areas. Look, for product, you probably wouldn't be doing cold email outreach to potential end user clients. You might be doing that with, say, the wholesalers or with people that will stock your product. That's where you could use email outreach. Right. Once again, sometimes people cringe when they hear email outreach. Well, is that still a thing? Do people do that? Think about the spam emails we all get in our email inboxes. It can still work. As I mentioned, I've got clients that it works for. Okay, so have a think about these different areas of that within product. So hopefully that helps, Emily. Cool. So, Jess, do you want to share a bit more about this next one here? I can read it out to you. How's your experience been? Do you have a big client list before going freelance? How was the transition? Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I have worked for some big clients like in the past. I have big companies in the toy business. I worked for Disney Consumer Products as well as Hasbro. So it was, so I had some connections there, and I was also just a contractor, so I was pretty disposable. So, when the pandemic hit, they were like pretty fast to let me go. So, they didn't have any loss there. So, they kind of cut me loose. And so I kind of had to, resort to freelancing, and which is kind of like a feast or famine kind of deal, right? So like sometimes you have lots of clients coming in, and then other times you have some slow months. Like in March and April were really slow for me. Like it was like crickets hearing from clients. So my best advice is to just diversify your income. And so this year I started dipping my toes into education, and I'm teaching my first Skillshare class. I led one of my first workshops, like a live workshop on how to leverage social media for your creative business. And licensing, just like I put a ton of energy into creating collections and licensing them on print-on-demand sites. And then also just like accounting for time. So when those clients do find me, most of my clients find me through Instagram, just like finding time in your calendar to like accept those projects and make sure that you can take them on and that it's a good fit. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, but it really comes down to, I think, just diversifying like all streams of income.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess. It's so important to really look at these different ways and different things that people have left their day jobs, right? So I think that's a really, really important part of it. Cool. So I have another question or two. And you do have another question you want to add into the chat, totally feel free to add that in, and we'll be finishing up probably in about 10 minutes or so. So look, it's kind of, I've already touched on this a little bit, but I did get a question beforehand around key marketing tips for people that are already in business, right? So you're someone that maybe you've been in business for a couple of years, like what are the things you can be doing around marketing, right? We talked a lot about marketing actually on this call. So it is very much a relevant thing. And this is still relevant for people that have, you know, perhaps their early stage, they've only been in business for a few months, maybe they've been freelancing on the side of a day job, or you've been in business for years. So I'm going to share some extra thoughts around this and just kind of go a little bit more specific. So this is something that, once again, there's a few one-on-one clients that I work with here. They're going to be like nodding away, go, yes, we've heard this, and this is really important. The number one thing that pretty much anyone can do around marketing is to make sure they're keeping in contact with previous clients. All right, so I talk about how your current and past clients, you've got to treat them like VIPs, right? They are gold, because the best next client is not going to be someone that finds you randomly through some other marketing tactic that you do. It's going to be someone that you've already worked with, right? So those product business, the product people here, right? The next best customer to buy your next product is someone that's already purchased a product from you. All right. Same with service businesses as well. And there's several things in that. They tend to spend more money with you. They tend to already know, like, and trust you, right? This is something I go on a lot about in my coaching. Know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. Okay, it's really, really important. People who have already purchased from you in the past, they already know you, they already like it, and they already trust you. Right? They're probably happy with what you did. Now, what we assume is, well, you know, if they liked what I did, Logan, surely they'll just come back. They'll order something else. They'll get back in touch when they have another project. That's what we would think would happen. It doesn't happen. We need to keep in contact with them because they may be a big deal to us, but usually we're just a small part of their lives and their business, right? So we've got to remind them that we exist by keeping in contact. Okay, so that's when it comes down to a lot more detail of, okay, cool. Are they following us on social media? Have we got an email list? Right? What are the ways we can connect with them? Have we followed them up? So something that I get pretty much all clients to do is I go, hey, when did you last contact previous people that have worked with you? And actually most of the time people go, oh, probably should set some actions around that, right? It's something that we can easily forget. We go, okay, well, I need to be doing a social media outreach strategy, or I need to do this here. It's like, well, yeah, maybe you probably need to do those things to bring in new opportunities. But the first thing in the hierarchy is repeat clients are gold, right? When did we last touch base with them, right? Sometimes maybe it's been months. Okay, send them a short message, say hi. They're humans, they're people, right? Business is about connecting with people. So how do we connect them with those people, right? So really, really important. Then it kind of moves down through a hierarchy of other areas, right? Referrals. Referrals are a great source of opportunity in business. People that have already worked with you before are probably going to refer and recommend you to other people around them. Do you have a way to encourage that? Are you asking people about, you know, do they have anyone that they could refer? Right? Are you asking those questions? Okay, so referrals can be a really great source of opportunity for you, because once again, maybe that person doesn't know, like, and trust you, but they trust their friend or their colleague or the person that's referred you, right? So through that trust, they're going to trust you that way as well. All right, so really, really important. Then you continue on down through the hierarchy. Well, what about your friends and family and colleagues? People that know you, maybe maybe they're interested in working with you or buying your products, cool. But maybe it's their friends, families, connections, co-workers that will. And then sometimes people say, oh, Logan, I don't want to be like promoting my stuff to my friends and family. It's like, well, no, you're not. Maybe you're just sharing with them what you're up to so that they can share with other people and be your next client customer, right? Because the biggest challenge in business comes back down to marketing. People do not know you exist, right? So I sometimes think about this one as a spider web. Right? It's like you've got your network around you right now. Part of your job is to extend that network. And if you can do that via people you already know, if you can tell your family, hey, here's what I'm up to. I'm at this thing here. I've got this new product, I've got this new service. I'm launching this thing here. Well, your friends and family, yeah, they'll get a bit sick of it occasionally, but they'll also talk about it. They'll talk about you to their friends and family. Extends that spider web. Right? So really, really important. You move through these areas, then you get into, what did I say? Your one area of marketing. So what is the one area of marketing you're going to focus on? right? And then you could do other things below that. But actually, for most people, this is all you need to do, right? For some people, they just need to focus on repeat clients, referrals, and then maybe just building that network a bit more. And that's all they need to do, right? They don't actually really need to do many other areas of marketing. Maybe they'll have a social media page that they're posting on occasionally. Right, this is a supporting strategy, is what we call it. It still supports the other thing. It supports the referrals. It supports the ongoing clients. But it's not the main strategy you're going to use around marketing. Okay, so I've just shared a few extra thoughts around some marketing tips there as well, and really going through that different hierarchy as well. So we are going to be wrapping up in the next few minutes. Now, once again, as I mentioned before, we are going to be doing an email around with the recording from the webinar, and we will also be sharing the giveaway. So there's 5 freebie coaching calls with me, right? So we jump into a coaching call. You just need to fill in this here, and basically 5 people will get picked. So take time, 5 to 10 minutes there. And what I do recommend is you consider filling that in, because it's a great way to actually see where you are in your business. Okay, really, really powerful. Now, what I want to do to wrap up is I want everyone to share one takeaway from today. Hopefully there's probably a few more than one, but what is something that is a takeaway? What's something that you're thinking about? If you can just add that into the chat, right, just while we wrap up, really will help some other people think about the things that we've covered as well. Okay, what's one takeaway? I love that. Abundance mindset. Absolutely. Abundance mindset is super, super powerful. We've got to be aware of scarcity mindset in the world. Nice. What else have we got? Confidence and mindset are a skill to strengthen. Absolutely. Skills to work on, Liz. I love it. These are things that we can all work on, right? No matter where we are on that confidence or that mindset level, everyone can work on that. Cool. Phil's sharing, focus on the things that already work, right? There's something that it's very easy to overlook, right? The things that are working already. These are really, really important. Right, so then, love it so much. Thank you. Awesome, thank you. Heather sharing consistency with social media. Right, we all get a bit frustrated with social media, and what happens is we get frustrated, we stop doing it. And we go, oh, I should do that thing again, right? We need to just be consistent, just keep at it. Yes, keep an eye on the stats and the comments and the likes and things like that, but just keep doing it anyway. Eric is sharing marketing that works for you. I think that means referrals for me. Oh, that's very cool. I love that you've had that nice breakthrough, Erica, around referrals. All right, so what else can you be doing around referrals? What else can you lean into? There's a ton of stuff you can do around referrals to really grow your business. Mel has shared being consistent, got more abundance mindset and skills we learn, focusing on what's working instead of guilt about half trying a bunch of things. Janelle, that's a huge one. Absolutely. Right. So often what happens is we do that scattergun approach. We try to do lots of different things. None of them are working particularly well. And then Paul has also shared work on getting clients ASAP rather than trying to learn everything first, because the best way to learn is actually going to be on the go. Really, really powerful. Hey, and the final thing I will do is it's always good around Instagram to get some really cool supporters and followers. So if you want to pop your Instagram in the chat, I would totally love to follow you, and I'm sure others here would as well. It's a really awesome way to support everyone else as well in the creative community. So pop it in there, and then we'll be wrapping up. So I'll fire mine there as well. So yeah, look, so powerful to have everyone connecting in. See if you can fire your Instagram in there. If there's any final takeaways, just fire them in here. And what I will just share is it's been awesome connecting with everyone here and really just seeing what people meant, right? We've had some awesome questions. I love that. Really, really powerful. And then finally, I just wanted to thank Jess for having me along. As I'm sure you can all tell, I love just connecting with people, being able to share tips, share some ideas as well, and seeing a few one-on-one clients come in here. Cool. So just click a few of those Instagram links and see if you can follow some people if you're still in there. And things should write to a few previous clients, Sasha. I love it. Hey, we're going to wrap up there. Thank you so much. It's been super lovely to connect with you all. It's been great fun, hasn't it, Jess? Thank you for having me along.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody.
Fantastic. Take care, everyone. See yous.